work. We are happy to present to you now, if my screen sharing works, our version of the King's new clothes. Here we go.
Okay. Once upon a time, there was a king. At least, he thought he was a king, who was very fond of wearing new clothes. One day, two con artists came to sell him what they said was a magic suit of clothes. Now, to tell the truth, there wasn't any suit of clothes. But the con artists held up their hands like this, and they said, "Mr. Majesty, this is a magic suit. Naturally, since you are very wise and intelligent, you can see how beautiful it is. But to a fool, it is absolutely invisible."
Isn't it grand? Isn't it fine? Look at the cut, the style, the line. The suit of clothes is all together, but all together, it's all together the most remarkable suit of clothes that I have ever seen. The bags of mine are determined, the sleeves are velvet, the cape is ermine, the hose are blue, and the doublet is lovely shade of green. Lovely shade of green. Somebody sent for the queen.
They summoned the queen, showed her the suit, and told her that only very wise people could see it. Naturally, not wanting to seem foolish, the queen said, "Isn't it great? Isn't it rich? Look at the charm of every stitch. The suit of clothes is all together, but all together is all together the most remarkable suit of clothes that I have ever seen. These eyes of mine at once determine the sleeves are velvet, the cape is ermine, the hose are blue, and the doublet is a lovely shade of green, lovely shade of green."
Summon the court to convene.
And the court convened. The cabinet came. The Supreme Court. The Senate. The Attorney General. And the Postmaster General. They were all told about the magic suit of clothes, and not wanting to be seen as fools, they quickly agreed.
Isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't it absolutely? The suit of clothes is all together, but all together, it's all together the most remarkable suit of clothes, as you've already said. These eyes of mine at once determine the sleeves are velvet, the cape is ermine, the hose are blue, and the doublet is a lovely shade of red, a lovely shade of red.
Green!
Oh, yes, green! How could we think it was red?
And the king issued a proclamation as follows.
Isn't it grand? Isn't it fine? Look at the cut, the style, the line. The suit of clothes is all together, but all together, it's all together the most remarkable suit of clothes a tailor ever made. Now quickly put it all together with gloves of leather and hat and feather. It's all together the thing to wear in Saturday's parade, leading the Royal Brigade.
Saturday came, and by that time, everyone had heard about the king's new clothes and that he was going to wear them in the parade. The people lined the streets as the artillery came by. The cavalry, the fife and drum corps, the royal guard, and finally, the king. Everyone cheered, but nobody wanted to seem like a fool. Nobody, that is, except for one person who for some reason hadn't heard about the magic suit and didn't know what she was supposed to see. Took one look and exclaimed,
Look at the king! Look at the king! Look at the king! The king! The king! The king is in the altogether, the altogether, the altogether. He's altogether as naked as the day that he was born. The king is in the altogether, the altogether, the altogether. It's altogether the very least the king has ever worn. Hold the court position! Call an intermission. His Majesty is wide open to ridicule and scorn. The king is in the altogether, the altogether, the altogether. He's altogether as naked as the day that he was born. And it's altogether 2 shillings a morn.
Okay. Whoa. Oh, we don't want to do this again. Hold on.
once upon a time, there was a king. At least, he thought he was a king. Who was very fond of wearing new clothes. One day, 2 con artists came to sell him what they said was a magic suit of clothes. Now, to tell the truth, there wasn't any suit of clothes. But the con artists held up their hands like this, and they said, "Mr. Majesty, this is a magic suit. Naturally, since you are very wise and intelligent, you can see how beautiful it is. But to a fool, it is absolutely invisible."
Isn't it grand? Isn't it fine? Look at the cut, the style, the line. The suit of clothes is all together, but all together, it's all together the most remarkable suit of clothes that I have ever seen. The bags are mine, and they're determined. The sleeves are velvet, the cape is ermine, hose are blue, and the doublet is lovely shade of green. Lovely shade of green.
Somebody sent for the queen.
They summoned the queen, showed her the suit, and told her that only very wise people could see it. Naturally, not wanting to seem foolish, the queen said, "Isn't it great? Isn't it rich? Look at the charm of every stitch. The suit of clothes is all together, but all together, it's all together the most remarkable suit of clothes that I have ever seen. These eyes of mine at once determine the sleeves are velvet, the cape is ermine, the hose are blue, and the doublet is a lovely shade of green, lovely shade of green."
Summon the court to convene.
And the court convened. The cabinet came. The attorney general and the postmaster general. They were all told about the magic suit of clothes, and not wanting to be seen as fools, they quickly agreed.
Isn't it? Oh, isn't it? Isn't it absolutely? The suit of clothes is all together, but all together, it's all together. The most remarkable suit of clothes, as you've already said. These guys of mine at once determined the sleeves are velvet, the cape is ermine, the hose are blue, and the doublet is a lovely shade of red. A lovely shade of red.
Green!
Oh, yes, green. How could we think it was red?
And the king issued a proclamation as follows.
You can, I have no idea where it is.
Isn't it grand? Isn't it fine? Look at the cut, the style, the line.
I'm trying.
It's all together, but all together, it's all together. The most remarkable suit of clothes a painter ever made. Now quickly put it all together with gloves of leather and hat and feather. It's all together the thing to wear in Saturday's parade. Leading the Royal Brigade.
Saturday came, and by that
Hi, everyone. I think Carolyn is just trying to work with her video issue, but wasn't that a wonderful performance? It really was. Thank you so much. So, Carolyn, were you able to stop the video? I think it went around another time.
No, I cannot find the video.
Everyone cheered.
You know what? You guys talk amongst yourselves. I'm gonna leave and come back.
Okay, that sounds good. You want me to do the reading while you do that?
Oh, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
I'll be
So
back.
this sometimes technology is our friend, sometimes not. But Carolyn has a reading, How to Talk to a Trump Supporter by Lauren Duca. Lauren Duca is a 29-year-old journalist and author of How to Start a Revolution, Young People and the Future of American Politics. So this is what she says. This Trump presidency is defined by cruelty to the marginalized and an embrace of authoritarianism. It is an understatement to say it is an absolute bleeping emergency. It can be really tempting to write off Trump supporters as assholes or Nazis, and that's how I wanted to react to the election. What made that difficult was my parents voted for Trump. Immediately after he won, I didn't know how to understand my parents as good people. I had completely cut them off and was unsure when or if that was going to change. It was not lost on me that I was out attempting to smash the patriarchy, but could not get through a phone call with my dad. I think what I had to figure out was that I needed to talk to my parents the same way I'm writing as a journalist, which is from a foundation of fact. We had completely lost the ability to have a conversation because we couldn't agree on what was true. This is a totally chaotic moment where the White House is putting out this information deliberately aimed to make us feel crazy. But we have the power to inform ourselves. Never in the scope of human history Has it been so easy to just look it up? Go out and get your receipts. Check your sources. From that foundation of information, you have what it takes to have difficult conversations with Trump supporters, or with anyone with who you disagree. I was raised to think that talking about politics was impolite, that it was crass and rude to have political disagreements. That's BS. Democracy is about building to consensus from debate. We have to be able to get through difficult conversations that start from a foundation of fact. If you have people in your life who you used to love, whether they're your weird Facebook friend or your own dad supporting Trump in this moment, it's incumbent upon you to attempt to help them to find a reason. It can take a lot of energy to argue for your own humanity, to argue for humanity in general, but it's absolutely worth the effort.
Sally, thank you.
All right, Carolyn is back. Hi, Carolyn.
And
I
now
think
it's
I hear
time for
you.
Tori, which is a video by Robin L. Everybody keep your fingers crossed and I can stop it when it's over.
Okay.
Uh-oh, Sally, you have to give me permission to share.
Are you muted?
No, I'm not.
She's muted.
Yes, she's muted. Sally, you're muted.
I gave you permission.
Okie dokie. We can work it out. Robin L.
Is in the all together, the all together, the
No,
all.
it won't go away. Excuse me. I think I'm going to get a reputation after today. Okay, we can work it out. Robin L., please give generously to the church so they can teach me how to do this right.
I see it my way, so I have to keep on talking till I can go on. Why you see it your way, at the risk of knowing that all of this is bigger. We can work it out, we can work it out. Think of what you're saying, you get it wrong and still you think that it's alright. Think of what I'm saying, work it out and get it straight or say goodnight. We can work it out, we can work it out. Life is very short and there's no time for fussing and fighting, my friend. I have always thought that it's a crime, so I will ask you once again. I just see it my way, so I have to keep on talking till I can't go on. Why you see it your way, there's a chance that we might fall apart before too long. We can work it out, we can work it out. Life is very short and there's no time for fussing and fighting, my friend. I have always thought that it's a crime, so I will ask you once again. Try to see it my way, only time will tell if I am right or
Hello, is everybody still there? I'm just waiting to make sure it doesn't start again. Okay. I I tried to get to a really neutral place on this talk, but I'm not sure I quite got there. Anyway, bear with me here. Back in September 2016, we made a trip to Texas for my cousin's daughter's wedding. I grew up with my cousins. There were seven of us that were about the same age, and then three others that came along later. But the seven of us lived near each other, and we went to the same schools, and we played together after school. Like we really knew each other well. I was the only kid, so they they were like my siblings. The food at the wedding wasn't so great, but otherwise it was a wonderful time. The bride was beautiful, of course. There was dancing, and we got to see everyone from my 90-year-old uncle who was dancing like a maniac with his granddaughters down to the newest little ones. And we met the fiancés of two other cousins' children, so there would be more weddings coming up. A few weeks later, Trump was rather unexpectedly elected president. I had already experienced more than enough of him. The you're the puppet debates with Hillary were horrifying. I never imagined a grown man could act that way, especially one who was running for leader of the free world. And at some point it dawned on me that Trump's behavior was everything I had tried to teach my sons not to do when they were toddlers. I know that as Unitarians, we're supposed to value the inherent worth and dignity of every human being, but with Trump, it really is a stretch. I was mad, so I posted a photo of naked Melania Trump on Facebook. Those photos are not hard to find. With a comment like, "Hope you see what you've elected." That ignited an instantaneous firestorm from two of my cousin's wives. How dare I post something like that? Well, I didn't make her get naked. That's Texas naked. I didn't make her get naked. I'm just pointing it out. The discussion got real personal real quick and ended with one wife unfriending me and the other one saying she still loved me, but only because she was obligated to. So I'm not the poster child for how to talk with people you disagree with politically, but I've been thinking about it a lot lately. And frankly, I don't see how anyone in their right mind who survived the last 4 years could support Trump, but they do. And if Trump loses the election, they'll be angry, just like I was when he won. Deepak Chopra offers us some ideas on how to disagree like adults. He suggests not being out to win or even to change the other person's mind. The best way to think of a disagreement is, he says, as a place to start negotiating. Chopra also points out that if your disagreement is on social media, you can choose whether to engage or to simply walk away. If you decide to walk away, you're still going to be angry. So he suggests taking some time to breathe and cool down. If you want to engage with the other person, start by listening. Saying Trump to me is like waving a red flag in front of a bull. My eyes glaze over, my blood pressure goes up, and I want to start screaming, "You idiot!" But I'm a Unitarian. So I need to try and recognize the dignity and worth of this other human. That means listening to them. It's also good to try and learn things about the person unrelated to the topic you disagree on. A guy I went to high school with, I didn't really know him well. I knew who he was, but that was about it back then, is a friend on Facebook. We argue politics a lot, but from the photos we post, we could agree that we both like trees. He keeps posting that New York City is in ruins, so I post photos of the trees outside my front door and say, "This is New York City and it's perfectly fine." Then we talk about trees. Chopra also suggests that when you feel yourself getting angry in a discussion, pause and think before you speak or hit send. You have choices. You may wish to continue the conversation. You may wish to tell the other person that if they are going to insult you or name call, as happens all the time on Facebook, the conversation is over. Or you could just walk away. No one has the right to bully you. Don't let them. Speaking of bullies, Trump has been gaslighting us ever since his first campaign began. Back in July 2020, the Washington Post had already counted over 20,000 lies or misleading statements Trump had made during his administration. In this age of alternative facts, it is exhausting to try and keep up with what is really true. When people on opposite sides of the political spectrum can't even agree on what is true, how can they have a civil discussion? And the truth is important. Wearing masks keeps people from getting sick no matter what Trump says. We haven't rounded any corner on COVID. There are 545 children who are separated from their parents at the border, and nobody knows where to find the parents again. The media can't be trusted, and so many other issues. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but those of us on the left-hand side of the political spectrum need to spout the truth as loudly as those on the right-hand side spout Trump's lies. As Unitarians, we're all about the search for truth. We can be nice about it, but when we come up against an untrue argument, we need to let the other person know it is not true, whether they accept that or not. The same Facebook friend I went to high school with often puts up spurious memes and articles. One meme had a photo of an older gentleman that said something like, "This hero fought in World War II, the Korean War, and Vietnam. He died. Why aren't we talking about him?" So I Googled it. I found out he had died 2 years ago. I posted the link underneath my friend's meme. Anytime I see an alternative facts post on Facebook, I try to counter it with an article from a trustworthy source. I keep 2 browsers open, that's my secret. So I can search articles on one and go back to Facebook and keep my place. Some people don't like to be informed, so posting actual information drives them nuts. But that's okay. I sincerely believe that doing this has managed to raise the level of discourse a bit on my little acre of Facebook. In 2008, presidential candidate John McCain did something that would be unheard of today. At one of his campaign rallies, he gave the mic to a woman who began saying that she didn't trust Barack Obama, that he was an Arab. McCain took the mic back from her and said, "No, ma'am. He's a decent family man, a citizen that I just happen to have disagreements with on fundamental issues, and that's what this campaign is all about." Trump would never have let the woman have the mic in the first place. The issues with Trump are far beyond Democrat and Republican, are liberal and conservative. We truly are in a battle for the soul of our nation. I didn't get invited to those next 2 family weddings, but some of my cousin's kids have quietly Facebooked me to let me know they are for Biden. There is hope. Thank you guys. Now, we have a song that we don't have lyrics to, so sit back and enjoy American Anthem.
All we've been given by those who came before, the dream of a freedom where freedom would endure. The work and prayer of countries have brought us to this day. What shall be our legacy? What will our children say? Let them say of me, I was one who believed in sharing the blessings I received. Let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, America, I gave my best to you. Each generation, from the plains to distant shore, with the gifts that they were given,
were determined to leave more. Valiant battles fought together, acts of conscience fought alone. These are the seeds from which America has grown. Let them say of me, I was one who believed in sharing the blessings I received. Let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, America, I gave my best to you. For those who think they have nothing to share, who fear in their hearts there is no hero there, know each quiet act of dignity is that which fortifies the soul of a nation that never, never dies. Let them say of me, I was one who believed in sharing the blessings I received. Let me know in my heart when my days are through. America, America, I gave my best to you.
And now the lovely Sarah Rachel will again extinguish our chalice.
Closing words. In the words of John Pavlovitz, no matter what happens on Tuesday, you and I will need to place our energies and fix our gaze on the ways that we can choose gentleness and peace and generosity far away from the ballot box. And finally, from the words of Mahatma Gandhi, when I despair, I remember that all through history, the way of truth and love have always won. There have been tyrants and murderers, and for a time, they can seem invincible, but in the end, they always fall. So please think of it always.
Will we extinguish the chalice?
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community or the fire of commitment. For these we carry in our hearts again until we are together again.
Hey, thank you, everybody. I think it's time for coffee hour, if I'm not mistaken. Sally, what do we do now?
Everyone, please unmute yourself and say hi to everyone. You can go to the upper right and put it on gallery view so you can see all of our wonderful faces. Yeah, I think everybody's unmuting. Most people are unmuting themselves. And also, if you want to, you can show yourselves too by going to the